4 weeks into my trip, and as you can see, I'm now in Bangkok. I left South Africa and flew across the Indian Ocean. And this is the week where I'm going to take out my vest and actually remove some of the items that I haven't been using so much. I'm already traveling ultralight, but I'm going to try and travel ultralighter. So we'll do that at the end of this segment. Right now I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that happened in South Africa. I was completely unplugged on Safari, and that was actually kind of nice. I know I challenged my readers to do their own experiments in unplugging. One nice thing about the isolation of Safari travel is that when you don't have an option to check your email or to plug into Facebook, then it's not even an issue. It's not a stress at all, and it actually becomes pretty liberating that you can just sort of go off and check out wildlife and hike around and enjoy your meal, because there's not even an option of plugging in and checking what's happening on the other side of the world. One interesting thing that happened while I was at a safari lodge in South Africa is that I walked past this giant bookshelf full of travel books. And up until that moment, I didn't really miss travel books, but there was something about the physicality of seeing those books and taking them off the shelf and looking at them and smelling them that made me realize that I miss books, maybe in the physical sense more than in the reading sense, because I can read books on my iPod, but something about seeing an old school bookshelf sort of got to me. Right now I've moved on to Bangkok, and I'm encountering humidity unlike any that I've seen elsewhere. This is definitely the most humid part of the world. This is going to continue through Singapore for sure. Right now it doesn't seem to be affecting me adversely too much, but probably in my next field report I'll talk about if humidity was compromising at all. I know that my clothes are going to be drying slower, I'm going to be sweating a lot more. Thus far it hasn't been too much of a problem. In my first field report I talked about maybe the polyester of these shirts would start to smell a little bit, and that hasn't been a problem, mostly because the more diligent you are about washing the shirts, the less that becomes an issue. If I do a sort of a half-assed job of washing my shirt in the shower, then odor might become an issue more quickly. But if I am very diligent about washing the shirt odors haven't been a problem. But again, Southeast Asia will be the true test of that, and we'll see how that goes. But right now, let's go unpack my vest and see which items I can get rid of after 4 weeks into the trip. I'm back in my hotel room now here in Bangkok. I've taken my vest and removed everything, and all of my non-clothing items are on this table now. And I'm going to remove a few of the items that I haven't been using so much, and I'll explain why I've been doing that. Before I do that, I wanted to address a few reader questions that I've gotten. One is, how am I keeping my iPod charged? I've just brought a USB cord. I've been plugging into computers as I find them, and it hasn't been much of a problem. Another issue that has come up again and again is liquids. How do I get my liquids through security at airports? Well, I keep them in TSA-approved bottles, and I put them into plastic baggies when I go through security, and that hasn't been an issue at all. While we're on the topic of liquids, that's actually one of the first things I'm going to get rid of. I brought 2 bottles of soap, the Dr. Bronner's soap to clean my body, and the detergent to wash my clothes. But so many of the places I've been have soap, and they have shampoo, which I can actually use to wash my clothes, that I'm going to unload one of these bottles. And I think it's going to be the detergent. This Dr. Bronner soap is pretty multi-purpose. Between that and the shampoo in hotel rooms, I should be set. So I'm taking out the detergent. That's one thing out of my gear. I'm going from ultralight to ultralight right now. Another thing that readers brought up was this, the mineral salt stone that I bought in Morocco to work on my underarms. It's supposedly good against underarm odor, and actually it's been working. So the little deodorant that I brought with me, I'm actually going to discard this and travel with only the mineral salt for my underarm hygiene. So that's 2 items out. The camera. Actually, I brought this camera to help document the experience, but there are a couple reasons why I'm going to be discarding the camera. One is that because this trip is being videoed, I haven't really found much use for taking pictures of the experience. It's being documented already. But even if this trip wasn't being videoed, I think I could take an iPhone instead of the iPod, and in the interest of traveling ultralight, just take pictures with the phone and avoid the need for the camera. So whatever the case, that's the 3rd item that I'll be removing from my kit. Earplugs. Actually, these earplugs are so light that sometimes I've forgotten about them in the shin pocket of my cargo pants and washed them. But just in the interest of this experiment, I haven't really used the earplugs. I'm going to discard them as well. That's 4 items removed. Flashlight. This is another item that's so small that I barely recognize it. It just stays in a little pin pocket in my vest. But I haven't really used it that much, so I'm going to remove that one as well. And A final item that I'm going to remove is my handkerchief. I've used this a few times to sort of dab off the sweat. I thought about using it as a do-rag for a while, but I'm using my ball cap so much that I haven't really used this as a sun cover. So I'm going to remove the handkerchief from the equation as well. So if you look down at the table, we have all the gear that I've been taking so far. These are the items that I will no longer be taking. These are the items I will continue to take. Where the hell's my iPod? These are the items I will continue to take, as well as my iPod, which I've had in my pocket. And actually, when you look at it, if I wasn't blogging from the road, I probably wouldn't need this keyboard and the iPod stand. If I had better eyesight, I wouldn't need these items. So the core items of my travel at this point are these items right here. And it really isn't much. Again, my clothing is not on the table, but my non-clothing gear has been boiled down to these items, plus these items that are really specific to my situation. And I think if you're going to be doing a no baggage experiment on your own, what I'm talking about here isn't necessarily the rules. This is just my own system, and I think each person will have their own system for how this works. So given this new, more efficient style of travel, I have a little more than 2.5 weeks to go, and we'll see how this ultra light setup works.